Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. I'm Linda Murray, 8 times Ms. Olympia, and you are watching Olympia TV. Woo! Today, today, our guest, she is 3 weeks out from the Miss International in Columbus, Ohio. 3 weeks out, defending her title for the third time. We have with us 2 times Ms. International Fitness, Ariel Khadr.
Hi, Olympia TV. Hi, everyone live.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And guys, I couldn't do this without my fabulous host of Femme Flex Friday. Let me start with Wendy Fortino, 7 times Olympian, Camille Perriat. She is an IFBB judge, NPC judge, bikini, IFBB bikini pro. So nobody better here than you to help us with the judging. And 3 times Miss Olympia Fitness, Whitney Jones.
What up, guys? Another
Yeah,
fun Friday with y'all.
That's it. Guys, thanks all of you for joining us out there. If you have not yet subscribed to Olympia TV, please do. And if you like what we're doing here, don't forget to like this video. Let's start with that first question, Ariel. You're 3 weeks out from the Miss International, defending your title for the third time. My question is what's the difference in stepping on that stage as the defending champion at the Miss International in comparison to competing at the Olympia? So just let's talk about the Miss International and what you have to do to prepare yourself mentally and physically to defend that title.
Sure. Honestly, last year going into it, I guess because it was my first time being the defending champion, I was honestly exceptionally nervous, but also really excited and just honored. Like, it was hard to explain that I felt like it's a moment that I could possibly never have again. And so I didn't take that for granted for sure. But also, I was so eager to not only just defend my title, but because I had, in my mind, disappointed myself at the Olympia 2 months before in December, I was just only focused on like redeeming myself to myself more than anything. And I feel like I did that. And the difference between that feeling and then going into the Olympia is that at the Olympia, I put more pressure on myself than anything else. And I think that was probably the biggest problem I had going into this Olympia, is just like I put so much pressure on myself, and maybe it took some of the fun out of it for me.
So you're saying you put more pressure on yourself going into the Olympia than
I guess
being
like
the person that people look at? Like, you're going into Miss International, all the girls are looking at you.
I guess I should say that again, because the year before I feel in my mind I did a really poor job at the Olympia. For me, I wanted to redeem myself even more at the Olympia, to be like, I'm not going to let another year go by without like at least trying my best to win the title, or like putting my best out there and seeing what happens. But with that being said, I feel like that got distorted because I put so much pressure on myself as far as getting that first place title, versus going into the Arnold, where I actually was more like grateful that I have that opportunity to defend my title, and I just couldn't wait to like show off how much more improved I could have been from 2 months before at the Olympia.
Okay. So going into the Miss International, I mean, at the Olympia, I'm sure you already knew, like, you're competing in the Miss International. So you already had that in your head all through your prep for the Olympia, versus maybe a couple of the girls, they submit their contracts or to be invited, and they don't really find out, from my understanding, until after the Olympia.
Yeah, so the list came out, like, I think it was maybe a month after the Olympia.
Okay. but you had to know that you were a definite invite. Like,
Yeah.
there's no question about
She's
it.
like, yeah.
Well, everyone, like, as far as I know from the Arnold, if you don't apply for the Arnold, you're not getting an invitation. So no matter what, I still have to write an application and present myself professionally to the Arnold organization in order to get that quote unquote invitation.
Okay.
Obviously, it's not totally guaranteed because, I mean, I would hope they would want the defending champion there from the year before, but you just never know.
True.
Yeah. Well, I'm absolutely sure if you had not applied, they would have probably reached out. Like, what's
They're
going
like,
on?
girl, what's wrong? Why are you not applying?
Maybe, but I guess we didn't have to figure that out because I did apply for the Arnold about 2 weeks. I didn't apply for the Arnold actually before the Olympia. I don't remember if the applications were out before or after, but I applied about 2 weeks after the Olympia.
So Ariel, do you feel more or less pressure going in to defend your third title compared to going into Olympia? You just said that you get kind of nervous going into Olympia. Do you feel more comfortable going into the Arnolds?
I want to say yes, but I don't really have an answer to why. So, like going into this Arnold, I do feel a lot different than I did last year, and I also feel a lot different than I did in 2022 when I won my Arnold. This time, I just truly want to be like happy with myself.
Yeah.
And no matter where that comes out, first, second, third, fourth, whatever, at least I could get off stage and be like, I like everything that I did. I know I couldn't have done anything different. And truly, at the end of the day, that's what's the most important thing.
So
I
Flex
wanna ask-
Wheeler.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. We had Flex Wheeler on last week, and he was saying he won the Arnold multiple times, and he said that when he walked into the Arnold, it was like his house. He was like, "This is my house. No one's taking it from me." It was a comfortable environment for him to win, and he said something happened every time he went to the Olympia. It would like get in his head differently. Like there was some weird energy that he just couldn't get past. Do you feel like there's like a similar thing going on where you have like the Arnold has now become your territory and you're maybe like have some mental struggles that you're trying to overcome for the Olympia?
It is possible, but I just feel like maybe after this last Olympia, that kind of like pressure that I was putting on myself, I don't have it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized at the end of the day, what am I really doing this for? It's not to get first. It's because I'm inspiring a lot of people. My fans loved me, whether I was placing 7th or 6th, like it didn't matter. And sometimes because I am very competitive, at least with myself, really, at the end of the day. My cat, I guess, wants to join in.
Yeah.
I'm obviously there to get first, but
Yeah.
like I said, when I was doing this and not getting first, I was still happy, and my fans were still my fans, and that's really what's important to me right now.
You know what's interesting is there's actually a lot of, you mentioned Flex, and last week we had on Laura Lee Chapados, who is a 2-time Arnold's reigning champion, going back to defend her title. You're going back to defend your title, and Laura Lee has not been able to win the Olympia. And there's actually kind of a lot of similarities between the defending champions at the Arnolds.
I mean, I guess that's like sort of historically in a way, other than obviously Whitney won the Arnold a few times and then won the Olympia. Oksana has done the same thing. I'm pretty sure Adela has done the same thing. I mean, I can name a few. Missy. So I don't think it's everyone, but I just think sometimes there's some athletes that are just not there. And then it's been at least 6 months since the Arnold by the time you get on the Olympia stage.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of change, and then, not seeing the person and possibly changing the routine and whatever the case is. Sometimes you just hit it on that day, and then other times you just don't. But for me, unfortunately, it's just been the Olympia has been the one that hasn't been as positive of an outcome as the Arnold.
Not
So
yet.
one thing too is like obviously with a lot of these athletes who did the Olympia, it's always a quick turnaround. Clearly, we've seen some years it's December, then straight into March, which is not a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
But for fitness, it's tough. Ariel, you and I are very close, so we know that we are constantly like battling injuries. You put it all on the stage for Olympia, and typically we all kind of limp off, right? So with your most recent Olympia, now going into this Arnold, I know you're ready. I know you're gunning for it. Are you making changes? Are you coming up with a new routine? What's your strategy for this year's Arnold to ensure that you're going to go in and get that 3-time title?
Sure. I just went back to basics. I'm going back to like me. I feel like I'm going to be me on stage again, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm doing something that I know my fans love that's very easily readable and enjoyable and fun for the fans, for the Arnold fans, definitely. This routine specifically, like let's just put no music and whatever else. Like in my mind, I think that it was executed well, but the theme was just compared to like my past routines that were better. This one, I feel like it didn't read what I was doing and what the music was about and what anything. Like that timer that I made, it took me so long and I couldn't. You have no idea how much I cared about the sand actually going through the timer, and like it didn't matter because nobody understood what. I don't think anyone understood it. So the point was the routine was that time is an illusion.
Can I ask you a question about the timer? Okay, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking that like the Purge, you know, because it was the Purge music, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, the timer means that when the time goes up, then she's gonna go murder everyone.
I mean, honestly, it came off like way too dark, and I just, it kind of relates to like, to be honest, what happened to me in the past 2 years. It's just been a life-changing past 2 years, and whether it was good or bad, I feel it was all meant to be for a reason, and that was kind of like what this routine was supposed to be about. Maybe it meant something to me, but it didn't really read across to the audience or the judges, and I'm aware of that. I'm not like.
So did you ask a judge?
No.
Did a judge tell you that, or how did you come to that understanding?
Honestly, no, I didn't ask. Well, I tried to ask, but I didn't get any answers back. But it didn't matter to me because I know what I mean, I've been doing fitness really half my life, and I can see what I see at least on myself, and coaching myself now. Like I think that, well, we spoke about that before we got on here, but I do coach myself for the fitness routines anyway, regardless of the physique. And so I know what I'm seeing and what can be changed and what cannot be changed and what was good and what wasn't good.
I don't think you ever viewed your routines as maybe dark. I would think it's more dramatic and powerful. I've always thought you have. I've really liked your style, but I wouldn't think dark would be a negative term. It's like dramatic.
I think that's possibly like my forte as far as the routines that I've done that were more impressive, I should say, because I've done like Mortal Kombat, I've done Terminator, obviously was very well known. I've done a lot of like these ninja routines that were more dark, but I wouldn't call them dark. I think this last routine just came across a little bit too dark, and I don't think that that's who I am as a person either, and I don't like that I came across that way because even just. Well, this is a side note, but I actually broke my toe in the warm-ups.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when I came out there, I was really like, if I am really good with injuries and pain. So for me to be thinking, I was kind of like, this is bad.
This is how incredible your division is. I mean, you guys walk the stage with some injuries, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a broken toe that's been broken so many times that when I went to the doctor, he was like bending my toe and he's like, doesn't hurt you? And I'm like, well, he's like,
yeah, well, you're a level 10 gymnast, right?
I was.
So how long have you been like into gymnastics? Like you started at a very early age.
I started, I think around 5 or 4. And then, I trained up until level 10. I was training as an elite gymnast at one point, but I never became an elite gymnast. And I also did Taekwondo simultaneously. I was a second-degree black belt, I'm still second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. I just don't actively practice Taekwondo, really.
Okay. Yeah, well, you guys are...
I also was competing in fitness, though. I competed in fitness when I was a very young kid, when I was 10 or 11 years old.
How did we find this? How did we find this video?
So this is gymnastics. So tell us, Ariel, when was this? Was a floor routine that you did when you were a gymnast. Do you remember when this was?
Yeah, this was, I don't remember what year this is, maybe like 2013.
Wow.
No, earlier than
Was
that. I graduated high school in 2010. So no,
you
this
did
is
a
like
triple
2006.
full.
This is
A
like
triple full.
2006, maybe.
Oh my God.
I think I did it. Well, I don't know what I just did. I didn't even watch. My forte was floor and vault. I was really strong in gymnastics. So
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wendy and I, we talked about this, and I said I'd love to see, because I do remember seeing earlier, videos of you
I mean,
performing.
one of my favorite routines was my Sweet 16 routine when I turned pro.
Oh, okay. Let's pull that up actually, because we have that. And I thought when you said that your routines were kind of dark, it made me think,
I have
she
done some that
actually-
were not so dark.
that was definitely not so dark. So let's
No.
let's
I did a
actually
New York routine in 2020 that wasn't dark at all. I won Tampa Pro with that routine as well.
so I don't think that your routines
Yeah,
were dark.
and you
but-
know what? I think that I know that that's a challenge sometimes. I mean, you have a short period of time to portray and to be yourself on stage.
I mean, I think
watch
for
this.
me, I like enjoy the depth of the routine as far as like how it's an art for me. And so that's why it goes towards dark versus like this frill. I call this like more frilly. But I can do this. It's just I enjoy the depth of my routines that they have. Like either they're supposed like how do I make this movie into a 2-minute routine that means fitness? Like so how I put together Terminator.
How old were you here?
I was 16.
Wow.
And
I
this
turned 17 if this was actually Team Universe.
and
It's
you were
so
the
crazy. You're so young.
And I can see the powerful quads on you too.
I actually got first in the physique round, which was pretty impressive. So
and you were the youngest fitness pro, right? At 16?
I was just turned 17, but I was the youngest one yet.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So this is you earning your pro card at Team Universe when it was used to be called Team Universe in 2009.
Correct. Yeah.
Sweet
That's
16
amazing.
routine.
I still call it the Team Universe. Like,
I know.
I know.
That too.
yeah.
Wow.
So what
So
what would you say has changed the most? Because this is 2009, okay? And now take us from there to now. You've obviously basically grown up in front of all of us, right? And we've seen you evolve so much as an athlete. What would you say is your biggest like changes that you've made and evolved with since we've basically seen you grow up in front of our eyes?
I mean, obviously, coming from being 16 or 17, your muscles are going to mature a lot.
Right.
I'm almost twice that age now. But I just, as far as the division goes, or as far as myself, which one are you?
Really? Both, actually. Yeah, that's actually a good way. Actually, that'd be a good segue because your opinion on the division is probably one of the most important opinions since you have literally been through all the eras, multiple eras, right?
I was going to say, because here there was 3 categories, A, B, and C class for fitness, and there was at least 10 girls in each class. So nowadays, that would mean there was 30 girls in the fitness category of an NPC national show. So obviously, the amount of girls that were doing fitness was still higher than it is right now.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, there was still only figure and bikini and women's bodybuilding. So there was no wellness, and bikini had just started. So
Yeah.
it wasn't as popular as it is now. I think that the most thing that's evolved the most in the is the physique round in the fitness category.
Yeah.
And it's always changing. And so I think that the girls that are quote unquote like at the top are the most hungry to just do whatever we think is like trending right now and be the best, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, I've spoken about this in the past, and I feel that fitness body should be a little bit less muscular, even though I am muscular and obviously coming in that way because I think
yes,
they're looking
because
at the same
Because
time.
I see a big difference in your physique and when you the first Olympia and your level of muscularity, you have more shoulder development, upper body, just overall. And I was curious, how did that affect your performance? Because we all talked about this last time, the challenges of being in fitness, and when when you increase muscle, it kind of affects your performance in the when you do the fitness round.
Sure. I feel that as I was getting more muscular, like growing, I was trying to grow. And when I first started the competing at the Olympia, I feel the physique round was actually even different then than it was now. So I feel like my training has constantly changed over the years based on what I think the physique round is trying to like look like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So as it's hard to say because the first few years that I was competing at the Olympia, I don't feel like I was training that way. When I
Yeah.
started training heavier, like more like bodybuilding style, then of course there were more injuries to occur. But at the same time, I feel we're practicing our routine so often that our bodies are getting used to like the fluctuations that are big and like a long term thing. But if it's
Mhm.
every single day, it's kind of like prep. Like you don't see every single day difference. But if you were to look from 1 month to 2 months, you're going to see a huge difference. So, but I'm going to say like I've had so many times where I almost tore my hamstring or something like that, and it's
Mhm.
you're always worried about training with weights and stuff like that. And I feel like at this point, I have the muscle maturity. There's no reason for me to grow anymore at all, for sure.
That's right.
And I've been focused really on the routine round because that's what I love doing the most.
Mhm.
And like I said, it's been a long time. 2016 was my first Olympia, so almost 8 years of training. No matter what, you're gonna get more mature muscle and grow a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me see. How can I pose this question? And all of us up here, we know what it's like at the Olympia when they're Bob's calling out the names. And after prejudging, if you were in the first call out and kind of where they positioned you, so you have an idea or understanding of where you placed in the physique round. And now you go back to your room and you're talking about you're focused on your routine and your performance. So you're out there on the stage, and when they announce fifth place, do you guys, and I'm really going to ask Ariel this question first, are you doing like a process of elimination? So when I think of that, Bob calling out fifth place. So fifth, Whitney, you placed fifth. Fourth, Ariel, you were
Yeah.
fourth place. And so you've had two fourth place, two thirds at the Olympia,
No,
correct?
actually three-fourths, three
You've
fourths,
had,
three-fourths, and then 1/3.
okay, and one third. Okay. So, like, what was that like? Because I'm thinking to myself, if I'm up there, knowing that you did exceptionally well in that physique round that morning,
Yeah.
they call Whitney fifth, Miss Olympia 3 times, they call her fifth. Were you prepared, or did you think that they were going to call you fourth? Like, I would think no, because most of the time athletes are not prepared for that. People don't really understand. It's like an out of body experience.
Yeah.
It's an out of body experience. When we pass out trophies and I have the trophy presenters, I tell the trophy presenters, be prepared. You are in charge to guide the athletes, because when they call that person's name, it's like a punch in the stomach, or your out of body
Yeah.
experience. So you have to know and listen to who they've called and guide them to the fourth or the third. And especially, I don't think people expected Taylor to
Mhm.
place second. So
Get us
go through
inside of
that.
both of your
Go
heads.
through that process
Yeah, the process of how
of the
that
fifth,
feels.
fourth,
Yeah.
and then after the final, like there's that picture of just Oksana and Taylor on the stage. Take us through this in
Take
your
us through
mind, if you can. What what did you feel like? What was that feeling?
I mean, to be honest, going into the Olympia, you have a preset notion of what you think might be the case, no matter what happens. And I don't really know what I was thinking, but I really thought in my mind when they called Whitney fifth, I said, I know for sure they're going to call my name for fourth. I don't know why I thought that, but I just did. And then they
Okay.
did, and I was just like, oh, okay. That's really what went through my mind. I don't know what else.
Okay.
Like, there
Really?
wasn't much that went through my mind, and then I wasn't sure because I didn't watch any of the routines. Honestly, the
see.
only routine I watched because she was last was Missy, and then I was like, obviously she's not on stage, so she, that's all I saw. So
Okay.
I can only tell you from what people were texting me saying like this routine was good or this was bad or whatever. And not that they were saying it was bad, but they were just saying some people were good. Like that's
Yeah.
about it. But I don't watch the routines. It makes me exceptionally nervous. So that's not a personal thing. I just I can't watch them.
Side note, Whitney had dislocated her shoulder here, and she's holding it together to accept her award. So just to throw that out there.
Right?
What's that?
It's the one that's hanging down.
Yeah. I was just trying to look normal.
You look pretty darn normal.
We're all just broken, though. Honestly, it's like, and even Ariel walking in heels with a broken toe.
Well, the next day we had to go to the expo because Whitney and I are both sponsored by BSN, and I was like, I can barely walk there, but I'm not going. Yeah.
See, someone needed to give you a piggyback ride. Come on.
That's a long piggyback ride.
I know, right?
More than Whitney.
Yeah.
This is a very intense experience. I mean, in fitness, I can't even imagine what it would be like because the placings are so you literally go into finals having zero idea what's going to happen. I mean, I can't even imagine that experience,
Well,
and routines are so subjective. So it's like you have someone who does a lyrical routine, you have someone who does hip hop, you have someone who's a gymnast and has crazy skills. So, and every judge views it differently. So our division is tough because you go into finals and we have girls who were in first call out in the physique round, didn't place. So it's like, wait, what? And then obviously like with Taylor, she wasn't in first call out. She ended up in second. It is all a crazy roll of the dice, honestly.
But this particular, your division, like what we're watching right now, it was so surreal because there was like this sadness in the room from what happened to Whitney and Missy. And the class had to continue on and go up there, but there was a lot of shock happening backstage, watching in the audience. I think some people in the audience that were watching maybe did not fully understand what had happened. So this moment we're watching was pretty traumatic, actually.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's just I believe it's a tough one because I don't think people were not expecting Taylor to play second. I mean, pretty much I knew when it was Oksana and Taylor that Oksana was the winner. So
Ariel congratulate, and Whitney, you guys are both congratulating her. Aww.
Yeah.
I was so paranoid that my entire suit was gonna go completely up my butt when I went down like that. So I was like, I really hope it's fine.
I think you didn't have very much time between how many weeks between the Olympia and the Fitness International to come up with a new routine.
Yeah, are we gonna do a new routine?
Yeah, no, I don't hate that old routine, but when I don't like a routine, it's right.
So I figured you're doing a new routine because the comment you said in regards to the audience didn't get it. So I figured that.
Yeah. I know I said I was excited for the last routine when I was making comments for the Olympia, but this one I'm really, really, really excited about this one.
Okay.
Can we talk about your makeup skills? Because you have some pretty insane makeup skills. Were you like a makeup artist? What's going on with this?
I don't wish I was, but when I was in college, I was obsessed with makeup for some reason. I just think I love doing it. It's funny because I don't really wear much makeup in general, but I like love doing makeup. So for this Terminator routine, I was just super, like I was so into what I was going to do for this. I thought about doing this since I did the
Wow.
Predator routine in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew like in my mind I was going to do Terminator one day, but I knew I had to wait until I thought in my mind it was time I was going to win the Arnold. And that the Terminator was going to give the Terminator the first place award. And then it really happened, and I couldn't really believe that it was actually happening, like better than ever dreamed of, really, to be honest.
Yeah. And you know what? If it's not broken, don't fix it, because I don't think that the judges have, it's hard on us as athletes to like not do what we've done well. You know, we feel like we always have to do something different. And I had that same thing that I dealt with. One of my best routines was when I did robotic type stuff. So I would always try to, it was pressure on me to try to do something different. But at one point when I realized what the audience, what they expect from me, then that was when I was at peace with it. So it's a very good thing that you're like going through all of this to know who you are, stick with that, and it works.
I definitely agree with that.
Do fitness competitors ever reuse their routine? It seems like you guys have to change it up every single time, something new.
A lot do. They reuse it, yeah.
I do think at the top, like us top 5 girls are not going to be doing reused routines. It's just not going to fly.
You said the top 5?
It's more than the top 5, but I'm just saying in general, most likely the top 5 to whatever girls are not going to keep the same routine, because it loses that effect of the wow factor, really.
Yeah.
I've always said it's like seeing a comedian on stage. You see them live, their jokes the first time, you're like, that was hilarious. It's amazing. The second time, you're like, yeah, it was good. And truthfully, if you have enough time between shows, like there have been years where it's like back to back to back. If you're doing a run of shows, and when we had the Arnolds, all over the country, all over the world, actually, you didn't have enough time. But between the Arnold and Olympia, and typically Olympia to the Arnold, we get excited to perform. You want to showcase something new and like wow them. So yeah,
it's
like
literally a performance.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at Ariel trying to get her contact, and it keeps popping out.
Wow.
I'm really terrified of contacts, like terrified.
How do you see when you, I mean, does it affect your vision? I mean, this is going all out, girl. This is literally like,
so crazy.
I feel like it was, I wasn't sure if there was like glitter behind my eye. But I was like,
is it in? I'm like, it's in.
I'll do it. And
so
then,
you had to practice with those in your eyes. When you did at some point, if you do something really different, even if you're doing your routine and you're doing it without eyelashes, and all of a sudden you go and put some big eyelashes on, and now you're flipping, that feels weird. So you had to practice that with those in, I would think.
like, no, actually I didn't.
You did not?
That's a really good idea, but I didn't.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh, Ariel, that's crazy.
I know. I'm like terrified of contacts. Like terrified. Yeah. I'll only do it like the day of the show. I'm that scared of them.
You're crazy.
Same thing with like sometimes I don't like to do like even the eyelashes. That's the worst part actually. So with the mask, for example, I'm like fluttering my eyelashes. I'm like, great, they're like bashing into the mask. But I don't need windshield wipers on my face, but whatever.
Glitter falls, sometimes you put the glitter on your eyelids. Well, then as you're flipping around or you're sweating, the glitter gets on the eyelashes. And when you're flipping, the light hits that. And it's like strobe light effect. It's the weirdest thing. And it only happens with flips. But I remember one time I was facing the back of the stage, and I'm like, where's the audience? It's so wicked.
The things that you guys have to go through is so different than like what Wendy or I would go through. We get nervous just standing there and posing. You guys are like doing so many different crazy things.
I know.
Wow.
No, this gives me a whole newfound appreciation for the you know, the stuff, I won't say any cuss words, but the stuff that we complain about. And then I see her putting in her contacts and I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to complain again. I'm good.
So Ariel, what kind of things, I know you can't spill the beans, but what are you doing to your routine that's a little different? Because you sound excited about it. You sound excited about this.
So you did say there's some people that do certain routines well and they kind of do them again, and that's kind of like where I'm going with this one. I'm really, really excited.
Ooh.
Back to the old school.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, can I put in a request?
Yes.
My favorite routine that you've ever done was the Terminator routine. That was,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yes.
I mean, with the eye and oh my gosh, if you, man.
Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that a lot.
And so, did you receive the award from Mr. Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger himself in your?
I did.
I'm sure he really enjoyed that. I can only imagine what he said.
Well, he actually pointed and then like voiced without voicing Terminator, like, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now, honestly.
Wow.
He gave me the award this year. He actually said before he got the microphone, he said, "You told me you'll be back," and I was like, I can't believe you just said that to me, but yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that is such a moment. Wow.
Yeah.
We have this moment.
It's very surreal with when Arnold comes in. It really is surreal. Just even when you're on the stage not getting first, because obviously I've been there before. When Arnold comes on the stage, you just feel like this certain energy that's like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
This wasn't your Terminator one, but he can do your Terminator one. Did he thank you for, you know, honoring his movie and his legacy?
I honestly was like I feel like it was so much to take in.
Yeah.
I really couldn't remember that much, that moment. All I remember is this year, all the trophies from the year before, well, not all the trophies, but the trophy he gave me was flipped backwards. So the first place and everything was right backwards. So this year I was like making sure that it was face forward.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So
much what
normally, Ariel, you, as far as like competing in the year, you normally would just do the Olympia and Arnold, right?
You hope that you
said what?
You hope that you qualify for the Olympia. That's really the goal. So
Right. So top 5 qualify, or is it just top 3 qualify for the Olympia?
it used to be top 5. So of course the goal was to get top 5, and then you get the requalification, which was why I was able to do just the Arnold and the Olympia. But now that I got 4th again, I would need to win the Arnold or the Arnold.
That's right. And that's why I asked that question, because I thought to myself, the pressure has to be somewhat on, because I mean, you're defending your title. I know.
I'm honestly so excited that like
they just changed that. Then they just changed that. Now it's just the top 3 in the Olympia fitness that qualify automatically to go back.
I think it's an Olympic now, including bodybuilding.
Last year.
And then if you've won the Olympia, you have a lifetime qualification.
Okay. Yeah. Guys, I don't know about that lifetime qualification.
Come on, Linda. We want to see you back on stage.
Please, some of y'all, please hang the bikinis up.
You can go back out there. You can go back out there.
So Jacqueline, I'm sorry, Ariel, I have to ask you the question, the elephant in the room. Jacqueline is coming to the Arnolds. We feel a little bit of pressure from her knocking on the door.
I mean, I feel the same as any other show. Like with anybody else that could be knocking at the door. You never know what anyone is going to do.
Yeah.
I just know what I can do, and that's what I know I'm going to do, and hopefully that it comes out on top. But at the same time, like if it doesn't, there's nothing I can do about it. I would be very happy for Jacqueline, so that's,
You know, the thing that's so unique about you, Ariel, and it's something I've always admired about you, is you have, and this is probably attributed to the fact that you've been an athlete your whole life. Like, how old were you when you started gymnastics?
Like 4 or 5.
4, yeah. I feel like you have never stopped, right? You have gone just compete. You have been competitive since you were such a young girl that it's like you have this ability to tune things out like I have never seen anyone before. I mean, I've seen you focus and you have like one level. You're here, right? And whether you're like, you don't have this like highs or lows, you're just kind of like this, just even keel, you know, all this pressure that mounts. Usually people have like highs and lows and like, and I just feel like with you, it's just this even keel. And I feel like it's this, you have this ability to handle pressure because you've been competing, you just are used to it. It's almost like you're at home when you have pressure on you. And I don't know if that means that you're embracing it or what, but you just seem so comfortable with it. Does that seem accurate?
I mean, I want to take that as a compliment, but I'll say thank you.
I think it's a compliment.
It's kind of how I am. I'm the kind of person that likes to keep leveling up, but not necessarily with other people, just with myself.
Yeah.
I always want to feel like there's something else to achieve. There's always more to do. Actually, like watching like Arnold's documentary, I kind of feel the same way. Like I was just like, okay, well, if I was to win the Olympia, let's just say as many times as him, like what's next?
Yeah.
Like it's how I am with everything, like working wise, everything. So, but it's more of a personal, trying to be more like, you know, prove something to myself than anything. But at this point, I don't feel like I have anything to prove to myself. So that's another thing going into this, Arnold, that I just feel like, I'm obviously working really hard, and there is pressure. I do want to enjoy myself and be happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's an amazing way to approach, I think, any show and just competition in itself. But the fitness division also there's a lot of unique qualities about the fitness division. And you guys are also, I think for the majority of you guys are all very close too, very good friends and get along. And so I can, I've seen like Whitney backstage and you guys are embracing each other and really rooting each other on genuinely.
Yeah. Well, Tarek Elgindi says Jacqueline versus Ariel will be a war.
How did I miss that one?
There you go.
Look at that handsome picture too.
I don't know. Does that Photoshop?
It is going to be a battle. It is going to be a battle. You have a great way to approach it, but it's going to be an exciting battle to watch for all of us watching at home or in person.
Yeah. Because both of you are so on point and so precise and just really strong, very strong performances, strong physiques. So it will be very interesting. I'm looking forward to watching.
I have a question for both Whitney and Ariel. Okay, this is actually something I've been wanting to ask you both for so long, and I don't know why I've never have done it. So both of you were featured in Generation Iron. I think it was the Generation Iron 2, right?
Right. Where's that? Right here.
3, 2 or 3.
Oh, there it is.
I was like 2 for literally like 2 seconds, and then 3 I was in for a while.
You were both in it a lot. Were you both communicating with each other while they were filming that?
Didn't
you have no idea?
No, in fact, the way they put it together was like, not that it was done poorly or anything. It just wasn't necessarily accurate. Like me and Whitney have absolutely no, like there's nothing at all between me and Whitney, and they kind of
like to do it.
And I didn't even know that they had who was in it. They don't, at least for me, they didn't specify. They were very quiet on anyone else, men and women. The only thing that I knew, and I'm sure they told you this too, Ariel, is that this was the first time a female had ever been featured in a Generation Iron movie. It's always been focused on guys.
Oh, yeah.
Ariel and I were the first females to actually be cast in one of the Generation Iron movies. And that was pretty cool, but again, we didn't know how it would play out. Yeah. They even told me directly, they said, this may not go well. Our audience may not like women. You may take on a lot of hate. And I'm like,
They actually didn't tell me that at all.
Oh, really? Yeah. They were like, we don't know how this is going to go. So you guys you're a guinea pig. Are you willing to be a guinea pig? And I'm like, you can't avoid haters anyway. Yeah. So I'm like, whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You guys did an amazing job in that movie. I watched it before I even knew Whitney, and it was so motivational. It was rad. So great job for doing that.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you did. I'm glad their comment about being the first woman and how the public was going to perceive you didn't scare you away from doing it.
I don't think either of us are scared of anything.
I wouldn't have been. Yeah, I mean, they might have been scared to tell me that because I was a new competitor in comparison to Whitney. Maybe.
Uh-huh.
They're trying to protect you. Little do they know they didn't have to.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
You know, the thing is, though, it was cool that they featured our division and kind of showed like this shit's hard. Let's be real.
Oh yeah.
We're training and we're doing cardio and routine practice and workout. Like it's, you know, people don't realize it. You guys get it because you're in the industry and you've seen glimpses of our division. But even still, you guys are still learning. You're like, what? You guys do what? So it's cool that they feature it.
It's hard too because every fitness competitor is always doing something different, even though we all kind of are on same type of like plan. It's just every single person's different, everybody's body's different, so there's just so many factors that is so uncontrollable other than the person that knows, like me, how I know what I'm doing, or Whitney knows what she's doing. But yeah.
So tell us what your day was like today, because I thought about the fact that you're spending an hour with us. It's late. Where are you at? Are you on the East Coast?
Yeah,
You're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So
she's partying it up with us on a Friday night.
So tell us, like, you know, I thought about normally I would have been doing my last cardio session or something on a, you know, bike or something. But you guys, as far as cardio, you do a lot of activity and physical movement. So tell us what your day was like today.
Well, today's a bad day to give you an example because I finally took an off day.
Hey!
Good. You finally needed it.
Yeah, I did. But typically, I mean, I do coach myself, so I make my own plan. I feel for fitness, as a fitness competitor, I am doing a significant amount of cardio, not including the routine. I'm not the only fitness competitor that has to do that, but I don't think a lot of us have to do a lot of cardio. I think my body's just used to doing that for so many years now that I kind of just have to do that if I want to eat. Even though my diet's pretty minimal at this point as well. But typically I would do cardio, training, routine practice all in the same day. Every day is different. Obviously I do have some like posing clients or lots of like errands to run, things like that to do, people to see. But otherwise, when I was working, my day was completely insane. I'm just happy that I honestly can do this full time now and don't have to be at my office, because when I was doing that, it was really difficult. And I was working full time when I won the first Arnold in 2022.
So, you know, I have a question about your training. When it comes to your training, you know, as somebody that needs to be a performance athlete and you need to have aesthetics for the physique division, right? Or the physique portion of your division. It's like when you go to the gym and you hit the weights, are you really thinking about, you know, the muscles that you need to build in order to perform better? Or like, how do you balance that out with, you know, creating that shape and also, okay, I need my, you know, my functional muscles too. Like, take us through your training style.
I guess it's always changing, really. That's like kind of where it's, because I mean, as for example, here, I was still training heavier, and so I have tailored my training a lot based on what I think I need to do to my physique. I mean, that's like really hard to explain, but kind of makes sense to people that compete, I guess. I don't know how I would explain that to like a normal person. I would have to explain that like a very long explanation.
Do your best.
Incredible.
For example,
one great back development. Oh my goodness!
Thank you.
Yep.
Wow.
However, there's different physiques for different categories, and like in my mind, I do think this is slightly too muscular for fitness. I'm just being straightforward.
So you gotta tell us your thoughts. Yeah.
So I mean, for me, and for life and for my routine and for the division, I've been tailoring my training a lot since I actually took this footage.
Did this amount of muscle, did it affect your ability to do your routine the way that you wanted to? Like, did you feel like the extra muscle maybe made you tighter, maybe less pliable, maybe not able to move around? Is that part of it when it comes to your, like, the amount of muscle and like how it helps you or doesn't help you perform?
Honestly, with that, I really feel like that it's like the same thing as if you did gymnastics and you gained 10 pounds. Like, it doesn't matter where where the weight is coming from. but it is heavier weight. So being that, let's just say your weight's fluctuating and you're not practicing your skills, you have to keep practicing the skills no matter what the weight is, because then your body's going to get used to that. However, with the amount of muscle that I had and then being off season, you're going to gain weight no matter what. So I am dense and heavy, and then that putting that kind of weight on your joints when you're already at risk to get injuries as it is doing fitness, I just think there's a lot of factors that are counting against you.
Right.
But with that being said, there's some girls that need to train like this in order to grow. They're not, their bodies are not there yet. So it's hard to say. But for me specifically, right now, I have tailored this down just slightly because I personally like that look better for myself. I don't really know. At the end of the day, I don't really care about the placement so much. It's really what I think and what I
you
want.
want.
Yeah.
Ariel, are you coming in bigger or smaller than you were at the last Olympia?
Definitely not bigger.
Than the last Olympia?
I would say smaller, a little smaller. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Because you're how tall? You're
Like
5.
being
You're
smaller
5 feet.
doesn't always mean leaner either. There's like
Yeah.
difference to it. I'm like barely even 5 feet. I'm scraping.
Yeah. And so, how much did you weigh on stage at the Olympia?
It was about 123.5,
Okay.
I think, that morning, which was actually too heavy. Like, I didn't want to be that heavy, but that's how much I weighed.
Okay. Wow.
I think that's how much I weighed. I don't know. Maybe
I think it's so cute to say heavy at 123.
Well, I was like 112 or 108 at one time on stage.
Yeah, I think I was looking at that. Here where it was like, well, it had you at 112 pounds.
Yeah,
That was
way
yeah.
really low.
The
Yeah.
first show that Ariel and I did together was the
I weighed
Phoenix
108 pounds there. Or
What's
like
that?
111 or something. I weighed like 111 or something there.
Wow.
Phoenix, Europa?
Yeah, so we came out and with our last names, in order.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I loved, like, oh, finally get to compete with her. But then I saw the stage photos. I look like the Jolly Green Giant. And
Me too.
there's cute little Ariel. And I'm like, Jesus, what? And I think Sarah Kovac was right there too, she's short. I look like which one of these is not
Not
like
like the other. You're tiny too, though, but she's like a mini person.
But it was just this height. It was like, height, short, yeah. It was hilarious.
Somebody in the chat just said they would like to see you enter the physique division as you get closer to the end of your career. Would you ever change divisions?
Probably not. To be honest.
We're so young. That would be so far away.
Probably, if I was to do a division other than fitness, it possibly would be women's physique, but it would just be because of the routine.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would just be like, whatever, I'm gonna do wellness and go where my natural physique really wants to go, because I honestly, like, my legs would just grow. If I trained like that, it would be forget about it.
Hey, Ariel, I have a question for you. I know you're a very confident competitor and you don't look at anybody. You already said that. But this year's Arnold's, there's quite a bit of new athletes that we have not really seen before on the Olympic stage. Is there anyone that you're like, ooh, this is an up and coming star coming up, or anyone that you have your eyes on?
I'm honestly not really. I mean, obviously, I know who's there, who's going, and I know what people have the capability of doing. But I'm not discrediting or saying that they can't do that. I'm just saying that I'm focusing on myself, and so no matter what, if they come out and are like way better than me and deserve the win, I would be very happy for them. I'm just not focused on that. So no, I'm not.
Not to beat you, but just like rising stars that we should keep our eyes on.
I don't want to like honestly name any names and like leave anyone out that I'm not thinking of. So I don't want to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know your mom she's always there with you.
She is. Well, my parents like are almost every single show. Yeah. Every
single show. Yeah. So who do you go to after the show? What did you do at this past Olympia?
There's only 2 people I talk about with my, well, at least 3 people that I talk about with my routine. But like as soon as I get off stage, my mom, and then Maria Belando is an IFBB pro fitness competitor that I'm close with, and she's the only person I'll even ask. And then I do have a friend named Alex that I ask. She lives in the UK and does fitness also. But other than that, I don't really care about it. Well, I care about their opinion, but like I don't trust people person's opinion is what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you. Very
Like,
smart.
that was amazing, and I'm like, thanks, but I don't trust you.
Yeah. Very smart.
Thanks.
Yeah. Very smart.
I can imagine how that would get in your head. I mean, for both of you, that you're trying to. It's a creative process for you to put together routine, try to do something that you feel comfortable with and that's tailored to you. And I could imagine that if you let too many voices get inside of your head while you're trying to put something so customized to yourself together, and then you go on stage, like you said, and you have in the past, where you maybe perform a routine that you didn't totally feel like was you. Like, that's something that only you all experience in your division. Is that, tell us more about that, because I think you told us that offline, but you were talking about how you maybe have put together a routine, you didn't really feel like it was totally you. Tell us about that and what the process is going in and out of that.
Well, for me, I know one example was in 2021 when they had the Arnold and then the Olympia 2 weeks later. And I did the Arnold, and unfortunately, my costume designer that I was using for every single costume, and she does my costumes now too, she wasn't able to do my costumes that year at all. And they had this other costume person help me, and it just came out honestly like a disaster. And when I put the costume on backstage, I was just like, no matter what my routine is right now, I just feel like I can't wait to get this like freaking tutu off, and like I just feel so uncomfortable in this outfit. There's no way I can get on stage and like feel like, since I used to just get out like on my costume, like, damn, I feel amazing right now. Don't have to do anything, just stand there like Comic-Con. But then this was like, I don't know.
You're like, this isn't me.
It wasn't a lot to I couldn't do anything because the guy sent me the stuff like a week before the Olympia. There was literally nothing to do I could do. So that was really stressful because I was working full time at the time. And I had to leave for the Olympia a week later because I knew it was 2 weeks later, but obviously I have to leave a week before. And I mean, I slept probably like 2 or 3 hours a night because I was at my office. And then I was also training for the Olympia, changed my music, changed my costume, changed my routine in a week.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thanks. But I never hope I have to do that, something like that.
So do
Are
we.
there challenges to going? Are there challenges to going and competing in a cold climate? Like going, because every time I think about Columbus, and then you guys are having to lug all this stuff. Now you have to. Well, you're used to the cold.
Well, I mean, it
on the
should be.
East Coast.
I'm from New York. I'm from New York, and I lived there my whole life. But Florida gets in you really quickly, and you just, forget about that. Yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of the cold, but I mean, it has been getting less cold in Columbus, luckily.
I know it has. You're right.
I mean, thankfully, Arnold, like last time I remember saying I didn't even go outside one time, but that was because everything is connected. So I didn't really have to deal with it.
Yeah, that is a very convenient location.
The UK show, I'm not really sure, obviously, what to expect as everybody else is in the same boat. Then I know it's cold there, but I'm really excited for that, actually.
When it comes to the Arnold, she doesn't have any challenges. This is her house. This is her.
I know, she's got this locked down.
Hey.
I am one of those people that doesn't, I like to know what to expect. So at least everything is always the same, and it's usually not very different.
So I noticed on social media this year, you had one year where you posted a lot and you kind of showed your journey. You've kind of been like a little bit laid back this time. So is there a reason for that?
There's not necessarily like a strategic reason for that, but it's kind of like who I am anyway. And at that time, I did have someone I was working with helping me with that, but there was like a long situation that happened there. And then I'm just kind of ready to. I kind of just want to bring this new person out on stage. It's not really a new person; it's just back to being me. I feel like, and so from there is where I can start getting some more content going. I do have a lot planned going into the Arnold. I do have someone recording for a YouTube series going into the Arnold. So if you want to stay tuned for that, that should be entertaining, I hope.
Yeah. Well, it's very exciting. We are all looking forward to seeing your physique and the package you bring and your exciting, release of just doing you and being you and not trying to, deviate from that. There's nothing broken, so nothing to fix. Just be you, right?
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And guys, I think we should wrap this up. Thank you so much, Ariel.
Ariel.
Thank you. And we wish you so much luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Few
So
short weeks. Few short weeks, girl.
3 weeks.
Yeah, this is grind it out.
Yep. Thank
So
you guys so much for
leave
having
you
me.
with the last word. What do you have to say to the audience out there and what they can expect to see from you in 3 weeks?
Definitely stay tuned. Watch the Arnold. I believe it is free this year, the live stream. So I know you guys are going to be, at least love my routine. I hope, but at least be entertaining. And Arnold fans will definitely love it. And I'm really looking forward to being at my 7th Arnold and
Yeah.
defending my third consecutive title.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, you're an amazing athlete.
Thank you.
Best of luck these next 3 weeks, girl, and I will see you soon.
Thank
We're
you.
so happy for you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you.